Hey everyone, and welcome. My name's Aaron, and today we're taking a look at the Dusky Electronics Mandorla. I'm playing my Fender Modern Player Starcaster into my Jackson Newcastle 18. My clean tone sounds like this. All right, so the Dusky Electronics Mandorla. This is a boost based on an old treble booster. You know, back in the day, way back in the day, guitar players would use treble boosters. They still do. Not quite as much, because we have a lot more control maybe than they did back then. But what would happen a lot of the time is if you plugged your guitar into your, Marshall stack or whatever, and then just cranked that sucker, the amount of low end would become so unbelievably, overwhelming that, the sound wasn't like that usable, but they loved sort of the saturation and stuff that they got with that. So what they did is they would add a treble booster to their circuit where it boosts the treble going into the going into the amp. And that makes the amp distort and overdrive in a much more pleasing sort of way, where the speakers don't sort of tub out in the low end. And essentially, that's sort of what this pedal is based on, is some old treble boosters. Very simple, sort of design. Cool thing about this one, so you've got this more knob, which is obviously level, and then you've also got meat, which is low end, adding low end to the signal. And I found, as I turned up the more knob, you're getting more treble, and you're also getting this sort of even order harmonic distortion, which doesn't really sound like distortion. It sounds more like saturation is probably a better word for it. and it sort of emulates, you know, going into an amp and cranking it up. But it's not amp distortion though. It's saturation. It's even order harmonic distortion. This is a MOSFET design. If you're a nerdy person, maybe you'll know what that is, or maybe if you're not nerdy, you'll just know what that is from history and guitar pedal design and circuits and things like that. But this is kind of the sound of that MOSFET thing, you know. My guitar going straight into my amp, I got a little overdrive going just by itself. My amp is, you know, it's starting to work a little bit. My amp's EL84 amp, which is a Voxy kind of thing, Voxy Marshall-y thing. And when you kick this sucker on, which sort of my favorite setting where I landed was this more knob, maybe around 10:30, 11 o'clock, and then the meat just past noon. Yeah, it kind of, it sort of cuts the mids actually a little bit. My amp has that Voxy natural mid-pushed thing, as you could hear without the pedal on. Then you kick the pedal on. That's kind of gone. That it sort of scoops that out a little bit, accentuates the treble. And then also with this meat knob, accentuates the bass a little bit. So mostly what it's doing is accentuating that treble, and I think that's sort of the heart of the pedal is obviously the treble boosting circuit. But these pedals are fun to play around with. It's not the most intuitive thing. You know, you wouldn't necessarily come to that conclusion by yourself, like I need a treble booster going to my amp, because a lot of times we hear so much sort of high mid-range and, you know, top end coming out of our amps that it's like, oh man, I need to tame that. I need something warm, you know, and round it off like a tube screamer or something else. But this boosting treble, it works with whatever amp, you know, you're going into to sort of cause it to overdrive and distort in a different way and focus those top end frequencies. And what I found is I sort of play different, you know, when that pedal's on. So like just that, and then I'm realizing the pedal's bringing out these top strings, and so I'm accentuating those more. Whereas if I don't have the pedal on, sounds great, but it's sort of this mid-range honky bridge pickup thing, which I love too. That sounds great by itself, but so very useful little tool there, treble booster. Check out the Dusky Electronics Mandorla if you get a chance. That's it from me today. We'll see you guys next time.